Welcome. It is time to get started for this month's webinar. I'm really excited about this. This is kind of more of a, a deeper dive issue that I think will be really helpful. And this is a little bit more for those of you that, if your brand has already been running a lot of ads on Amazon, but you're really wanting to continue to see visibility for your brand and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So basically, this is going to be a little bit deeper. So if you're kind of at the place right now with your brand where you're not even really running a lot of the basic ads, this is good information to kind of take in to know the possibilities that are still out there. But at the same time, don't let this overwhelm you or feel like this is something that you need to do, starting, yesterday or today. So now I want to share with you what to avoid when running display ads. So don't make these mistakes. There's so many things that can happen with advertising in general. And I've said this time and time again, but you really have to pay close attention to display ads. It can really start costing you a lot of money if it's not monitored properly. Those ads we typically do see, just to let you know, that there is going to be typically a higher cost to even run those type of ads, not always even leading to sales through that campaign type. You won't always see that direct correlation, but you have to keep in mind sometimes it is just building brand awareness, getting them familiar with your brand, and then they might see your sponsored products ad and then decide to buy. And so then it wouldn't track and count that as towards a sale, but that advertising with display ads could help with that, getting people familiar with your brand, like I said, on and off Amazon. So if you use this strategy, don't have a short-term vision in mind. If you're looking at 30 days, you're not going to see, like you would with your sponsored product ads, some of those really low ACoS, advertising cost of sale, and things like that. So you do have to keep that in mind and just build that into, if that is going to be part of your long-term strategy, build that in there. Make sure you have the extra budget for that to allow more space to test within that. Because really what it should be doing is really adding an extra spoke on the wheel, if you will, within your whole Amazon advertising strategy. So even though, like I said earlier, you could be running a display ad that they may not buy at that time, but then in the future they may see another ad that they buy because they've already seen your brand before and they've become familiar and aware of you, then you're really helping your overall sales and your advertising efforts on Amazon. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. And then, another thing you want to avoid is you don't want to be targeting irrelevant shoppers. So you can cast your net really wide. And this is sometimes you'll see that happen a lot with really large brands. But you want to make sure, typically the brands that we work with are more of small to medium-sized brands where they're not a mega brand. So they don't have that, a ginormous, almost seemingly unlimited advertising budget every month. So you have to really make sure that you're not targeting irrelevant shoppers, because that is just going to cost you a lot more. And you're not going to be able to use the same tactics and strategies that larger brands can use. So you have to really target in and hone in on who your customer avatar is. We've talked about this in past webinars. I hope that if you haven't had a chance, make sure to check that out. That was on our product listing optimization webinar. I talked a lot about knowing who your customers are and knowing what their needs are and things like that. So you really want to hone in and target your relevant shoppers and avoid irrelevant shoppers. So this is another reason that display ads are not a good starting point if you've not done any other type of ads on Amazon, because you want to use the existing data that you have and results that you've seen from existing and running current ads to know who the more relevant shoppers are, so you can avoid targeting people that would not be a relevant shopper. And you also want to be careful though, too, on stopping your ads too quickly before you have time to hone it and refine it. So a lot of times what we're doing, is we are also always making sure that we're seeing, is there more opportunity for, the brands that we work with to gain additional market share on Amazon through ads. So, but then we also have to then refine that down as well to make sure it's more targeted, more relevant. So if you stop your ads too quickly because you're thinking, well, this is just not working, this is really expensive, without having that bigger picture in mind, you're not going to have that refinement process as you're running those other types of ads and as you're running the display ads to make sure and hone in more on who you're targeting. Because remember, you're wanting to not go to, you're going to want to go to more and more relevant shoppers, people that are wanting to buy and would be ready to buy your product. And so you need to give that time as well.